We're still camping up by the Panhandle in Idaho. We had to leave the drift yard because you could only stay there for 3 days. But there's a big heat wave coming in, so we didn't want to start heading south just yet. It's supposed to be in the upper 90s, which is extremely warm for someone like me. So I think we got a good site now that's gonna be alright, even though it's gonna get super hot. So the way we found this place is that we were driving through Clark Fork, and we're only a couple of miles from there, maybe 5-6 miles. And we saw these signs about National Forest access, and there's something called Lightning Creek Road. So we just started heading up, and as soon as we got onto the dirt road, we saw a bunch of campsites along the way. This is one of those campsites that isn't online, like on Compendium or free campsites. So if you're in the Northwest and you can't find camping, you should definitely check out these National Forest access roads, because you might end up finding a spot like this. A lot of these spots are only known by locals, so it takes some exploring to find them. One of the best things about a site like this is that you have a lot of privacy. Not only because of the trees, but because of the campsites are so far away from each other. I'm gonna go show you the creek real quick too. It's not a massive creek, but we caught some trout yesterday, so there are fish here. Jenny is getting into fly fishing and tying her own flies, and she was really excited when she caught a fish yesterday on her fly. Here's our bathroom. No, we're not gonna use this, but it's funny that someone put this out here. And there's the creek. This is Lightning Creek. Now we're gonna head into town to get some groceries, and we're also gonna take a look and walk around Clark Fork a little bit. We haven't really seen too much of it. It's a really small town, but we still wanna check out what's there. We also have to get some work done because we don't have any service up here in a spot like this. It has been nice to get a break from it all, but you know, when you work online, you gotta get online somehow. So a couple of months ago we drove through Island Park, which is supposed to have the longest main street in America. And I think we found the shortest main street after driving through Clark Fork. Clark Fork only has about 500 people living here, but it has the basics, like a library, and it has a small school. But it also has some cool local businesses. We just went and bought some local coffee called the Mountain Goat at the Scotchman Peak Coffee. And there's supposed to be a really good restaurant called the Squeeze Inn.
Yeah, the Squeeze Inn.
The Squeeze Inn. Right now we're standing above Clark Fork River on this cool old bridge. This looks like a really, really old one.
I promised I was going to show you how to bake in an RV oven, and we happen to have 2 bad bananas, so I'm going to bake some banana bread today. First I'm going to start by lighting the oven. To light an RV oven, you start by lighting the pilot light by pushing this in on pilot, and then lighting the pilot down there. And then after a little while you can let it go, and then just turn her on. The secret to cooking with an RV oven is to never trust the temperature dial on this. It's always going to be wrong. And if you're going to bake any kinds of cookies or breads, always just have it at the lowest setting possible. It's going to get really, really hot in the end anyways. This recipe I found online, and we've done it a couple of times, and it's really, really good. I'll link to it below. But basically we're going to start with a half cup of butter that needs to be melted. And since we don't have any electricity, and I want to use the smallest amount of pans and dishes as possible, I'm going to melt the butter in the actual bread pan. Put the melted butter in a bowl, add a cup of sugar, mix it together, add 2 eggs, teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1.5 cups of flour, teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon salt. Now you just need 2 medium-sized bananas, or just 2 bananas. Add a half a cup of sour cream to the bananas. Then you're just gonna kind of fold this mixture into the rest of it. Now, since we melted the butter in the pan, it's already greased and ready to go, so I'll just dump that in there. So in a regular oven, this would bake at 350 for an hour, but this is a camper oven, so you gotta do it a little differently. So I'm gonna start by cooking it on this left side for 15 minutes. And then in another 15 minutes, I'm gonna come back and switch sides, and I'm gonna do that 4 times for an hour. And that's pretty much the only way you can stop it from burning on the bottom, because if you leave it in the middle, it'll burn on the bottom, guaranteed. Alright, now it's time to see if it worked. Boom. Not burned at all.
Welcome to the roof of our camper. I just got another 100-watt solar panel installed here. We have another 200-watt on the back of our camper. The cables from those go through the fridge vent, and then they go down to the power station, which is inside the trailer, and it charges it. This panel is gonna go directly to the battery. We put the cables in the front of the trailer, and they go down into a box that's sitting by our batteries where the charge controller is. I might make a video about how we did this more specifically, but I think we're gonna have to go jump in the creek now because it's really warm out here. How cold do you think it is?
I mean, it's a mountain creek, so pretty cold.
We won't know until we jump in, huh?
Nope.
Well, we better do it before the sun disappears.
Yep. Get her down.
Gotta love that clear water. It's beautiful.
Whew. Oh man, it's so cold.
We're doing some nice outdoor cooking today. Usually we cook in the trailer because it's so easy, but it's such a nice day today. So we got our stuff out. We're gonna get some Dutch oven potatoes made and some pork and some carrots, I think. It's gonna be a good meal. And I absolutely love this campsite. I actually think we have the best site in this whole forest because we're so far from the road. Everyone else is getting really dusted each time there's a car going by. It is more fun to cook outside than inside, but since we already have a kitchen ready to go at all times, it's just so easy to get something cooked up in there. We do have some really nice outdoor cooking stuff though. We have the Camp Chef Everest, which is a 2-stove burner. This is one of the best 2-stove burners out there. We got this as a wedding gift, and we've loved it each time we've used it. This lifetime table is really nice too, because it has this part on the side where you can put a burner. Of course you can put a burner on the table itself, but the way this sets up is just, it just works out good. And these legs aren't as flimsy as they look. It's actually pretty stable. And I know we have too much stuff, but we recently bought this bigger lifetime table, and we like this because we can use this as a desk outside. The other one is not quite big enough for 2 people to sit by. Alright, so Dutch oven potatoes. Pretty simple stuff. Gonna start by cooking the bacon. This is bits and pieces, so it's not the most fancy bacon. But it works out pretty good in Dutch oven potatoes. Alright, got my bacon cooked here. So I'm gonna get that out of here. I'm gonna leave the bacon fat in here though, because you gotta make sure that it's healthy. So now I'm gonna put in the potatoes. So the way I like to make my Dutch oven potatoes is that I layer them. So now I'm gonna start with the potatoes directly onto the bacon fat. So now I'm gonna get the onions on. Now I'm gonna season them, and I like to use the Dave's Burger and Steak. This is the Dave's barbecue restaurant seasoning. We love this so much that we have our own little container that we keep refilling. After the onion and the seasoning, gotta add some bacon.
Okay.
I'm gonna add a little bit of cheese. Okay, and then we restart. So now we go back to potatoes. Then the onions. Get some Dave's seasoning. This is a 10-inch Dutch oven, by the way, and it's perfect for like 2 to 4 people, maybe. Got the rest of the bacon on there. We didn't have a ton of bacon, but I think it'll be good enough. Then I'm gonna put on some more cheese on top. And here I like to cover with a lot of cheese.
Okay, oh my god. Praise man.
If you can see some onion or potato or bacon,
Get off the edge.
you're failing. I like to put this at the lowest setting possible. Then I'm gonna get the lid on here and let that cook for about an hour, and then it will be ready to go. So it's been like 45 minutes. The potatoes are getting there.
Oh yeah.
Now we gotta get some pork going. Just got some flour and seasoning on it. I love using a thermometer, not only to know when the meat is done, but to make sure that you don't overcook it. I wish everyone would use one of these. Instead of killing that hamburger or that steak, just get one of these and you'll get it perfect each time. Oh, that's looking good.
Oh yeah.
We got some carrots here too, don't worry.
It's not all bad.
It's not all healthy. These are my favorite kind of potatoes.
Oh man, that ended up so good. The key is to cook them on low and not to cook them for too long. They really only take an hour to an hour and a half at the most. And don't mix them around either. I think some people will mix them around and then it becomes like a mushy soup kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
Just gotta leave them.
Oh yeah, just gotta leave them.
Now we're gonna go fishing. I've been waiting for this for a while now. Still learning how to fly fish, but we caught a couple trout on some of my flies yesterday. And now we're gonna scout out a little more and try to find a better spot and hopefully get some bigger fish. So far they've just been rainbows that are like this big. But I mean, it's a little tiny creek, so that's not too bad for this kind of an area, but we'll see what we end up with.
And I don't have a fly fishing pole yet. I might get one later this year though. It's kind of hard to fish with a lure here, but...
Right now we're right by where our camp is, and we're going to try to go down that way. So we got to cross the creek first. It looks like there might be a deeper water hole down there. Just got to take it slow.
Well, we've been fishing for about an hour. Haven't had any luck yet. But I'm glad we went down here so we could see the spot. It's a cool place with all these rocks and all the trees leaning over the water. And now I really want to climb that mountain. I wonder if it's just me that has an urge to climb mountains with the cliffs when you see them from far away. It's like something is just telling me to start going towards it.